Welcome back to my channel. It is Hillary Jubilee. If you're new, we talk about manifestation, conscious creation, and the law of assumption here. So today's video is about a technique that you can use to deal with the 3D or how to, people always ask, or the question is always like, how do I deal with the 3D? How do I, deal with the 3D reality while, because while you're trying to manifest something, if you're affirming or you're visualizing something new for your life that you haven't yet experienced and you've still got the old circumstances around you, how do you deal with that? Or if you've got something that comes up that triggers you, that is the opposite of what you're trying to manifest, how do you deal with that? So that's what this video is going to talk about. So it stems from It stems from this book that I'm reading. You've probably heard of it. If you haven't, highly recommend. The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. So he talks about letting go, okay? And he talks about how when people are triggered, it means that something is within you that you have not yet healed. And he does this analogy where, let's say you have a thorn in your side, okay? You've got a thorn in your side. And, it hurts when something touches that thorn. So you're going about your life, you walk through a doorway, it grazes the thorn, it's really irritating. So what do? You create you create this apparatus around your side that prevents things from touching it so it doesn't get, bumped and irritated. You change your home so that it's not, your thorn's not going to be brushed up against, disturbed, just creating this whole thing, controlling your outside environment so that your thorn is not bumped. And the parallel to the thorn is your trigger. So your trauma or your past issue, whatever the hurt is that's inside of you that's getting triggered by outside circumstances. Instead of just taking the thorn out, you're trying to control your environment and control what other people are doing so I can feel better. You need to act this way so I can feel better. Don't bring this up because that bothers me. Don't talk about this, like I can't handle. It's like just too many triggers because there's something within you that is not okay and you're trying to control that outside environment so that your thorn isn't bumped or so that you don't get triggered so you don't feel not okay. But the thing is that not okayness, the feeling not whole, or there's something wrong within yourself, that is like, it's always gonna be there until you remove it. And so he also talks about in the book where like people usually have one of two ways of trying to deal with their trigger. So when you get that uneasy feeling that comes up, you feel triggered by something in your reality, you either want to shove it down so you don't feel it. I don't have time to feel that. Societal expectations, if you're like, I'm too manly, I can't feel my feelings, like push that down, or even doesn't need to be manly, but like, that's just an example. But if it could be a woman, it could be whatever. I'm too tough, I don't cry, like tough people don't cry, whatever. Push it down, don't deal with it, like, shoving down and not feeling. That's one option, is to shove it down and like pretend it doesn't bother you, or just like glaze over it, sweep it under the rug. And then the other option is to go out and fix. Something's triggering you. For example, use myself as an example. If I get into an argument with somebody triggers me, I am the fixer usually. It's like I cannot rest until it's resolved. Like if someone's mad at me, it's like, oh, like I need to talk to them. I cannot, like, if someone wants space, that really bothers me. Like I need to deal with it now. Like let's deal with the issue so that everything's smooth over and good. I cannot have something sit there triggering me with like, this is how it was. Like if something's had triggered me before, like now I'm pretty good at letting things go and like communicating normally. But anyway, so going out and fixing whatever it is, I need to take action out there to, make me feel better in here. So those are the two things. If people get triggered, they're usually shoving down or going out there to fix. So that's what Michael A. Singer talks about in The Untethered Soul, about how when we're triggered, we either shove down or we go out, we're a fixer. So knowing those two options, and then he said, like, you could be doing that, you know, those are the two options that mean like you're creating all this apparatus around your thorn so that your thorn doesn't get bothered. You're keeping your thorn safe. You're keeping your trauma safe within you by fixing or shoving down and not feeling, right? So this relates to, you know, dealing with your 3D, because if your 3D is triggering you, there's something within you that needs to be healed or let go, right? Same difference, healing it or letting it go. You're holding on to it is what hurts and what causes the trigger to keep on a loop. So what he talks about is letting go. So there's a separate premise that he talks about with, you know, trauma and things that go on in your life that cause you to have beliefs or to have, like, you know, a limiting belief, or it's a trauma. It's some sort of like experience that makes you feel not okay in your life. And he talks about how you hold that in your heart. So you're holding that energy in your heart. It gets trapped there. So you're closing down your heart. And he talks about how like opening your heart and like letting the, like sitting with the feeling, right? So I'm sure you've heard of that. It's like, oh, just sit with the feeling. What does that mean? Okay, the feeling's coming up. You're triggered. If you open your heart rather than closing is, you know, reacting in some way to go out and fix in a negative way that isn't helpful, or closing is like shutting the feeling down, not dealing with it and like holding it within. So instead of closing, we're opening the heart. And I like physically imagine my heart, I don't know how to explain it, like in a shape, in some sort of like, okay, this might get a little woo-woo, whatever. My channel's pretty woo-woo, so who cares? In sort of like, I can't even explain it. It's like an intricate sort of like, you know, heart chakra or whatever. Like I think of it like that, but, or like a puzzle piece or something, like opening, like a intricate thing, opening, rather than closing. So, you know, literally your heart, you know, it has valves and stuff like that. You could imagine that too, like in a scientific way, but however you do it, you're opening your heart up and allowing that emotion or feeling, like just sitting with it and allowing it to be there, not trying to resist it, not trying to shove it away, not trying to act upon the feeling that's coming up with the trigger. Just like be there with the trigger, be there with the feeling and emotion, because it's just energy. And opening up your heart, opening up, thinking of opening and letting go, opening and releasing, rather than closing and trapping, right? So if you're getting triggered by something, there's something within you, you've got a thorn in there that needs to come out. So instead of building all of these intricate things in your life to prevent that thorn from getting bumped again, I need you to act this way. I need you to not say this certain thing. I need whatever in my life to change so that I can feel better. You're creating it anyway. So you got to remove the thorn. So if you feel triggered, the more often that you do this, the more often you open, something's coming up and triggering you. Why am I getting annoyed by this? It's your own perception. It's your own perception of the situation. It's not even what they really said. It's not what somebody said. It's not what the situation is. It's your perspective on the situation that is causing you pain because of something that's already within you. So opening up the heart and imagining that feeling, letting it sit there and imagining it there in the heart, and open. And like imagine opening your heart and letting that energy out. Let that feeling out. And the more that you do this and letting it go, like there's so much in this book. I highly recommend reading that book. One disclaimer I will say about the book, because if you get into it, you might come across this and be like, wait, what? He does say in the book that you have no control over your reality. You have no control what happens. And I don't believe that. I believe that we're creators of, or co-creators or creators of our reality. That's what Neville Goddard's all about, right? Like you visualize, you embody a version of you, and you can manifest your desires. I don't know how you could say that that's not real if you've experienced it for yourself, even if you've manifested something small. If you imagine something and then you hold it in your hand, I don't know how you could deny that. But anyway, so this book has nothing to do with manifesting your desires, but it does have a lot to do with letting go and dealing with that monkey mind in your head, and being free from that monkey mind, which has to do with triggers that are coming up, which has to do with dealing with your 3D. So highly recommend the book. That's all I want to say, is that like, take what resonates and leave the rest. So if if there's something in there that he says in the book that you don't resonate with, obviously just take it with a grain of salt. You don't need to believe everything one person says. It's like, even for myself, like if you watch my channel, I say something that you don't agree with, that's fine. Take what resonates, leave the rest. But anyway, I still think that book is so valuable. It's for dealing with your triggers and dealing with the 3D in the meantime while you're doing that is work. That is the work. Dealing with your triggers when they come up. That is like the epitome of the work, or work on yourself. If you're getting triggered by something, it's a sign that there's something within you that needs to be healed and let go. So just thinking about opening up the heart and sitting with the emotion that is coming up, and not resisting and not reacting and not shoving it down, letting it be there. And it's the feeling that will come up, and then the thoughts, right? So you want to let go, like, I let go, I release and let go, I release and let go. You want to be letting go like ASAP, because once your mind gets going, it's like, I'm sure you know, it can get, a little crazy in there. And he talks about that. But I just wanted to make this video about dealing with your triggers, because I feel like it's so important. And the more that you do that, the more that, when you get triggered and you think of opening up rather than closing up, opening up and, seeing it with love, like sit with the emotion, realize that it's your perspective, it's from within you. There's something within you that needs to be let go. Just let go, let go, let go. Just once you realize that, and like the more that you do that, and sitting with the feeling that's coming up, that's you're feeling triggered by something, the more that you sit with it and let it go, rather than going out and trying to fix or shoving down. It's practice. You keep doing it, and then the less triggered you will get. The less triggered you will get, the less things that are going to come up that are irritating to you. So it's a practice, but it's not like, oh, I have to sit with my triggers all for the rest of my life. But like, the more that you do it, the less triggered you'll be, because you're letting it out. You're letting that energy out of you, so that you're no longer triggered by those types of things. So you'll notice over time that the more you do this, you'll notice that a situation will come up and you'll have absolutely no reaction, like no reaction within your body anymore, because you've let go of that. You're indifferent to it. It doesn't resonate anymore. You've taken the thorn out. So I highly, highly recommend this if you're in a situation where you're manifesting something and your current reality is irritating you or triggering you. Then, it can sometimes feel like you're lying to yourself, or you're delusional if you're affirming over these negative emotions that are within you. You've got negative emotions within you, you're triggered, you're feeling icky about what is, and you're trying to affirm over that or visualize over that when you feel like crap. It's not, I just think it's just, you don't need to necessarily feel it 100% real, and you don't need to necessarily, I'm not saying you need to be in like a positive, happy, whatever to manifest. That's not what I'm saying, because you're manifesting all the time. But to break out of, the monotonous and the same old, you have to become somebody else. You have to become a different version of you, right? And if you're still fixated and your energy and your feeling is still on the unwanted circumstances where you're still feeling yucky about what is, then you're not embodying the version of you who doesn't have that in your reality, right? So you want to let go of, like take the thorn out, take the trigger away, so that you can, be free of that trigger and manifest what you want. So that is my video. Please give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe. I am still working on my Manifest an SP course. It's going to be good. I'm very excited about it. I don't know when it's going to be released yet, but we're working on it, and I will do my best to get it up as soon as possible. And other than that, leave me a like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment. I would love that. And yes, thank you for being here. Love you. Bye.